Third video, third opportunity, third conversation. Thank you guys if you've made it this far. Thank you that you've made it this far. I promise this is the shortest conversation, but it's all about what I would want to be able to communicate to you, to talk to you about cultivating a stronger sense of teamwork and team experience. Some of this is not going to be surprising to you, and again, this is just me doing the best that I can to get you on track and give you something to run with. And it's also something that I talk about, and you may have heard me talk about it before, but listen up. If you're going to be a deacon, you're pursuing a responsibility in the church, and you want to help a ministry exist, and really importantly, beyond those ideas of theological understanding of like what it means to live like a leader and be responsible as a leader, the next category after you work through those 7 practices and you've got clarity on your when and your process, and you've narrowed that thing down, and you're saying less for more impact, and finding your replacement, all of those things. You're working those things in. Now you have to kind of like get other people on board. And the way that you get people on board comes down to, I think of 4 E's. 4 E's. I don't have graphics or whatever, but you can track with me, right? The first E that a good leader will use as sort of like a framework for him to think about, how do I build a better team? Well, teams are built if they're engaged. And that kind of depends on you as a leader. You need to be communicating on a regular basis to your team. That's an engagement of sorts. If your team can't tell you the last time they got an email from you, or an update from you, or maybe a text message from you, that's not a great sign. They need to be able to kind of feel like, I hear from my leader of ministry on a regular basis. That tells you that they're engaged with your ministry. They are experiencing ongoing communication. There are different ways to engage, right? You could send emails, which I'm a fan of. Those things get out. People do it, but not everybody looks at email. Maybe you need to send a text to your team. Maybe it's helpful to create a group on Facebook or any kind of platform that you want to use. Anything. There are lots of apps out there that can help you coordinate as a team. And at this point, our church hasn't adopted one singular method of sort of championing that idea. We're kind of putting it in your hands as leaders and saying like, hey, look, we want you to build up your team. And when we say that, what we mean is you need to engage. Now, there's a whole other slice of the idea. I've kind of talked about communication as the means for engagement, and that certainly is the thing. But it also means taking the initiative, okay? So a leader doesn't wait for other people to contact them. A leader takes the initiative. And even you can think of taking the initiative with people who aren't yet on your team. The only way they're really probably going to find their way into your team is if you take the initiative to say, hey, I see something in you that I want part of our team. You bring a quality and a value. You'd be an asset to work with us and do the ministry that we're doing. Man, a leader has to take that kind of initiative. And a leader has to take that kind of initiative with people that are on the team already. So don't be surprised if you're losing team members and you look back and realize, I haven't really been contacting them. I haven't been including them in the information or giving them the context and the vision that I'm trying to get our team to understand. It takes engagement. That's the first E. Second E, and this is in the context of engaging through your communication, through your face-to-face meetings, your text messages, your Facebook groups, or whatever tools you use. The second E that helps cultivate good teamwork is encouragement. And there's several different ways to think about encouragement. Okay, on the one hand, it's just sort of the raw version of encouragement. Hey, thank you for being on the team. Thank you for serving. I find what you do when you serve to be of benefit to our ministry. We couldn't do this without someone like you. You give in a way that is inspiring. You serve in a way that is inspiring. All that resonates as encouragement for people, and they need to hear how in very personal ways. Like as a leader, you should look for every week as your team serves, look for people who are hitting those markers, those steps, and pulling off those wins so that you can go to them and be like, hey, in that moment Sunday morning when sort of this happened and you stepped in and you did this, that is exactly what I'm talking about. In fact, I'm going to use that example in my weekly email to the team to celebrate how you did a good job and to point the way to everybody else. That's the encouragement that a leader would apply to build up their team. A healthy team is a team that feels encouragement, that experiences encouragement from the leader of the team. And that's what we want. That's what we want you to begin to pursue. We want you to think about ways to encourage. So there's that raw aspect of encouragement that's good, but there's also encouragement towards what? Towards the mission that God's called you to. So you're encouraging your team when you're reminding them of your vision, of what the wins look like, of the process that you need to be involved in. That's absolutely a way to encourage your team, showing them and putting before them the simple, narrow, focused, you're saying it in a creative way, it's clear as mud. Putting that in front of them is encouraging towards the mission. So you got to find a little bit of a balance between the raw, personalized encouragement where you're telling people that they're valuable and helping them understand how they're valuable, and then encouraging the mission that God's called you to do. Do those things together. That'll be really good. All right, so that's engage, encourage. Here's another way you can build a strong team. You can have a mindset that says, I need to equip my team. We should not assume that everybody is going to carry the clarity of the vision and the mission, the responsibility, as much as we will. Now, we can equip people to begin to think that way, and that's what a good leader will do, and this is how a team gets strong. You can equip your team to be more mindful, more on board, and more clear about the goals and the steps and process for your ministry. How do you know when at the end of the day you can give each other a high five? How do you know you pulled it off the right way? Well, you're going to have to equip your team to know how to do that. And you don't need to assume that they'll figure it out. That's never really a great idea. Many times people figure it out in ways that are not in alignment with what we've determined to be the best course of action, and you got to work to kind of rein them in and be like, hey, I saw you try to do it this way. We really want to try to use this tool. Be as gracious as you can. Keep an eye out. Sometimes people actually have better ideas than whatever you come up with as a leader. But the moment that happens, it's an opportunity to encourage them. Hey, you came up with a good idea. The whole team needs to hear about this, to shift the way you're doing something and equip everybody on the team to get on board for that. So that is what we need as a church. We need leaders that are cultivating strong teams by paying attention to ways that they can equip the team. That's on you. That's what we're asking you to do. How can you move the needle of your team from average or slightly above average towards excellent or really impressive? Like, how can you equip them? So some of this is just information-based, but oftentimes equipping also comes in the form of giving them the right tools. Makes sense, right? I mean, if your job is to clean up, well, you need some tools and supplies to make it happen, right? You need the sprays and the cloths and the brooms. And then if you find out that the spray you have just puts smearing streaks all over stuff, you got to find a better tool. So equipping can be very functional, where you're connecting with your team, asking questions, and trying to figure out what do we need to resource these people so that they can do their job well. So as a leader, how do you strengthen and build a better team? Well, you make sure they're equipped. They have what they need to get the job done well. And that includes clarity about the when and about the process, but it also includes the resources that they need to get the job done. All right, so I said there were 4 E's. We're down to our last one. Let's recap. A good leader is going to engage. That means that you're taking the initiative to communicate well to your team. A team that's communicated well, where there's a lot of communication happening, there's some good team health going on for that team. You're going to be encouraging in the context of that communication. People are going to feel valued. That's the second E. The third E is they're going to be equipped. And you're going to be giving them the resources that they need, both mentally and physically, to get the job done, whatever that ministry role is. The last D. We're almost done. We're training. We're almost done with deacon training. I'm so excited. This is great. The last D is just the idea of empowering. Okay? This means that you're helping people to know they've got all the tools that they need to get whatever ministry assignment that you have for them accomplished. And as you review this, you show them the vision and the mission. They've got the wins down. They've been trained and shown the steps and process about how to carry it out. They've been reminded. They're on board with the communication. They're encouraged in the midst of that. They've been equipped in every way that they can. Now it's time to empower them. It's time to just tell them, like, hey, I'm counting on you. I've scheduled you. You know what to do. It's on you. And you bring that. This is what God's called pastors to do, to equip saints for the work of the ministry. And you're participating in that as you do this. I'm passing this on to you so that you can get your team equipped, so that you can empower them, so you can say, hey, now's the time for you to own this ministry. And there comes a point in time where you should say that to people, where you should be able to look at them and be like, I'm counting on you. This is on you, buddy. Over the last couple of months, I've been working with someone to pass off a ministry at Greenville Tech, and we've been having conversation. I've been doing all of these principles that I'm talking to you about. I'm showing him what the wins are. I'm showing him the process. I'm communicating on a regular basis, and now I'm about to step away for a couple of weeks, and I just recently said the empowering statement. All right, dude, you know what to do here. It's on you now. Call me if you get in trouble, but I'm counting on you to get this done. That's empowering people. And you can't jump into successful teams don't empower without all that back end stuff, the equipping, the encouraging, the engaging, with all the practices for effective ministry and a theological foundation of biblical qualification and character as a leader. So my hope is that we've given you all this information, the theological concept of a deacon, the biblical qualifications, practical tools on thinking through practices of effective ministry, and then just this short conversation of trying to encourage you to be a good leader with these 4 E's, where you will engage, you will encourage, you will equip, and you will empower your team to lead well. Thank you so much for taking time to think through this and process it. I hope you've been taking notes. If there are questions, man, I'd love to coach you. I know our other elders would be excited to be involved in your life to help you think through how to lead your team well. Please know that we are deeply grateful for all the ways that you guys serve and lead in the church. We couldn't be where we are without you, and we can't get where God is calling us to be without people stepping up and leading well. Thank you so much for participating in this training. Hope it was easy to do, and maybe you even got to watch it in your pajamas in bed or at breakfast or whatever it was. We hope it was convenient that we did it on video. All right, take care. We'll see you guys at the church serving together. Thank you.